Welcome to the Cedar Park United podcast. Luke's telling of the Sermon on the Plain is gospel for our times and for us as we try to live the way of Jesus in a world where the gap between the poor and ordinary on the one hand and the ultra-rich on the other is massive and getting larger. In today's reflection, Reverend Dr. Elisabeth Jones reminds us that in God's eyes and love, the poor, the grieving, the hungry, and the persecuted are the favored ones, and that this has everything to do with our choices and their implications.
Let's pause for a second to pray. Gracious and Holy One, for the answers that you give in this reading, open our ears and our hearts so that we can hear them as good news, as blessing, as warning, and as a way to live in this world. Amen. So listen for what is familiar, listen for what is strange was how we invited you to listen to the text today. And I can't right now, because there are so many of you, I cannot actually see Jeannie, but I can think of Jeannie, who would be the one who would be going, blessed are they, the poor, and she would want to carry on singing. I see some of you are mouthing it, but it's not here in this reading, at least not in Luke's reading. For Luke, it's the poor who are blessed, and the hungry, and the grieving, and the persecuted. That's all. 4. Very blunt, very plain. And make no mistake, Luke seems to be deliberate in taking it a step further than Matthew did. He is not talking about the poor in spirit. He's not talking about the spiritually hungry or those bound for heavenly reward in the sweet by and by people. He's actually talking about the real life human people, the people whom Elon Musk has just this week publicly and blatantly classified as the parasite class. Just imagine how small a step it is to dehumanize the refugee, the underemployed, the working poor, and to treat them as vermin to be eradicated. So Luke has us miles away in completely different topography than Matthew's beautiful spiritual poetry that's worthy of mountaintop preaching and beautiful songs. Here, Jesus is speaking right in the midst of a crowd. The word in Greek for this crowd is hoi polloi. Some of you've heard that. It means the nobodies. The people from all over Judean Palestine and the Gentile beyond, the gathering that included both the well and the sick in mind or body and spirit, and the poor. But notice too, that among that crowd were those who were wealthy enough to make the journey from foreign lands to the north in Tyre and Sidon. And it's all of this crowd that Luke places Jesus right into the middle of it. It's basically, as they would say in French, tout le monde. The whole world is gathered around him as he begins to teach. And again, Luke has this great precision when he tells us that Jesus catches the eyes of his disciples and the crowd. And instead of singing, blessed are they, Jesus bluntly says, blessed are you. Blessed are you poor, you hungry, you grieving, you persecuted. So if you are among the rich, you're listening, you're going, okay, the poor, the rich, the hungry, the grieving, the persecuted, not, where am I? Where am I? So he takes a breath and he levels the ground and he says, you who are rich, you who are full, you who are laughing, you who are on top of the world, you who have everything you need, you who have 6 million followers on Truth Social, you've already got everything you need, so beware, be warned. So for every blessing, there is a matching curse. And if you think about it, that becomes a constant, perpetual leveling of the ground. It's a deconstruction of this human-made pyramid that we have of acquisitive greed. And Jesus is talking, saying, this is your warning. God's not going to give more to the rich because you already have your reward. It's a warning that sunny ways never last. None of us on this screen is beyond that complete encompassing of Jesus' words, his blessings, and his woes. You look around our congregation now, and we are, God be thanked, a more heterogeneous community than we've ever been. You sit there and you will see settlers, descendants of pioneers, but we are also refugees and immigrants and newcomers. Among our community, God has gathered together people who are well off and people who are poor and hungry and food insecure. So we as a community are both grieving and joyous. We can see each other. We know each other's names. We are here to be here for one another. And I dare say that Jesus is saying to us, and woe to you if you're healthy and you don't take care of the sick. Woe to you if you have and don't share. Because believe me when I say, in God's world, there is no parasite class. In God's eyes and in God's love, the poor, the grieving, the hungry, and the persecuted, they are God's most favored ones. The ones Diana Butler Bass reminds us are the ones closest to the heart of all compassion. So be warned, and woe to us if we ever believe for a minute the claptrap being peddled right now by bullies and racists and fascists and megalomaniacs who are intent on opening the hand of the hungry and taking their last loaf from them. The people who are intent on compounding the griefs and sorrows, intent on eradicating all who are not white, not straight, not us. Intent on rewarding their own grief with gluttonous excess at the expense and the very lives of God's most dearly beloved. And woe to us if we seek peace or favor from human lords and tyrants, because when they fall, and they will be under the rubble. But blessed we will be if, with our riches of kindness and compassion and cash, if in our riches of commitment to friendship, if in our richness of plain speaking, if in our joy of sharing food with the hungry, we warn those who think they don't need anything. Blessed we will be if we embody as Christ's body the abundant generosity of God's loving favor upon all those whom Jesus' mother Mary called the lowly. Friends, we long for God to turn this world round right, don't we? Well, let's get to it. When the snow has stopped, we have work to do. Amen.